The pillars of creation, maybe the most famous photo in space history, might already be gone. Some evidence points to a shockwave that tore them apart thousands of years ago. Those pillars sit about 7,000 light-years away, so if they're already destroyed, we're watching a rerun. Nobody alive today will ever get to see the sequel. That's the deal with nebulae. The prettiest photos in astronomy are actually crime scenes, nurseries, and ghosts, all glowing at once. Here's every type, ranked from calm to catastrophic. Number 1. Molecular clouds. Before any nebula gets interesting, it starts as this, just cold hydrogen gas, drifting, doing absolutely nothing for millions of years. These giant molecular clouds can span hundreds of light years and hold enough raw material to build tens of thousands of stars. They're just waiting for a nudge. That nudge could be a nearby supernova shockwave, or just gravity finally winning a very slow argument. Either way, once it collapses, everything on this list gets born. So technically, every glowing, dying, exploding thing coming up started as boring gas doing nothing. Space really does go from zero to catastrophe fast. Number 2. Reflection nebulae. These don't glow on their own. They're just dust clouds bouncing starlight around, like fog lit up by a car's headlights. Take the Witch Head Nebula. It's just dust reflecting light from the supergiant star Rigel, yet it's shaped so much like a witch's profile that astronomers named it that on sight. And that blue tint isn't decoration. Dust grains scatter blue light more easily than red. The exact same physics that makes Earth's sky blue, just recycled light years from home. No fusion, no explosion, nothing dying here. Reflection nebulae are the calmest thing on this list, which means, naturally, this list only gets worse from here. Number 3. Dark nebulae. These are so thick with dust that they don't reflect or glow. They just block every star behind them, punching a hole in the sky. The Horsehead Nebula is the famous one, a dust cloud so dense and so precisely shaped that from Earth, it looks like a chess piece carved out of shadow. You're not even looking at an object. You're looking at an absence, a shadow, light years tall, thrown by dust so cold it's barely above absolute zero. But these dark, freezing clouds aren't dead space. They're nurseries. Gravity is quietly collapsing pockets inside them into brand new stars, right now, in total darkness. Astronomer Edward Barnard cataloged over 300 of these dark clouds in the early 1900s, proving through photography that they were dust clouds, not true holes in the sky. Number 4. Emission nebulae. Unlike the first 3, these actually glow, lit from within by their own newborn stars, not just reflecting someone else's light. Massive baby stars blast out ultraviolet radiation so intense it strips electrons off hydrogen atoms for light years around. And when those electrons reunite, the gas lights up red. Nebulae actually look like this to your eyes. To your eyes, most look like a faint gray-green smudge. The Orion Nebula is the closest big one, roughly 1,300 light-years out, and close enough that even a cheap backyard telescope can catch its glow. It's also a star factory working overtime. The Carina Nebula, a cousin of Orion, is breeding stars so massive they'll live fast and detonate within a few million years. Number 5. Protoplanetary nebulae. Confusingly, these have nothing to do with planets. They're the brief, weird stage right before a dying sun-like star lights up completely. A dying star sheds its outer layers into space, but its core isn't hot enough yet to ionize the gas. So briefly, it just glows in reflected light, caught mid-transformation. The Boomerang Nebula is the extreme case. Its outflow is expanding so fast it's refrigerated itself to about 1 degree above absolute zero, the coldest natural place we know of. Colder than deep space itself. Somehow a dying star managed to make a patch of the universe chillier than the void around it. Space doesn't usually let you in like that. Number 6. Planetary nebulae. Despite the name, they have zero to do with planets. Early astronomers just thought the round glowing shells looked planet-like through weak telescopes. Once that core gets hot enough, it finally floods the ejected gas with radiation, and the whole shell lights up like a cosmic ring of neon around a dying ember. The Ring Nebula, the cat's eye, The helix. These are some of the most photographed objects in the sky, and every single one is a corpse still glowing. In some systems, astronomers think a second star orbiting close by may sculpt the gas into hourglass and butterfly shapes instead of a plain circle, gravity playing sculptor on the way out. These shells only last tens of thousands of years before drifting apart into nothing, which in cosmic terms is basically gone before the paint dries. And in about 5 billion years, this is us. Number 7. Wolf-Rayet nebulae. These come from stars so massive and so violent that they don't wait to die. They blast their outer layers off while still fully alive. Picture a Wolf-Rayet star hurling material into space at speeds over 1,000 kilometers per second, fast enough to cross the entire continental US in about 5 seconds. That wind carves out a glowing bubble in space. The Crescent Nebula is a perfect example, the star basically shedding its skin before the main event, total collapse. These stars are basically standing on the edge of a cliff, and everyone in the neighborhood knows what happens next. A supernova, and soon. Number 8. Supernova remnants. This is what's left after a massive star doesn't just die. It detonates with more energy than it produced in its entire life combined. Remember number 5, the star that made the coldest spot in the universe? This next one out does that by blowing itself apart hard enough to outshine its whole galaxy. The Crab Nebula is the wreckage of one such explosion. Chinese astronomers wrote down the exact date it appeared in the sky, in the year 1054. That shockwave is still expanding today, thousands of kilometers every second, sweeping up gas and forging new elements as it plows outward. Some of that iron ends up in blood, yours, eventually. So the next time you cut yourself, that's not just biology. That's a several billion-year-old exploding star still following you around. Number 9, and the final boss, Pulsar Wind Nebulae. Inside some remnants, the star's crushed core survives, as a neutron star, spinning unbelievably fast. The Crab Pulsar packs more mass than our sun into a ball about 20 kilometers wide and spins around roughly 30 times every single second. That's an absurd spin rate for something so massive, and this whirling monster weighs more than the sun while blasting out beams of radiation like a lighthouse built by a lunatic. Some pulsars spin even faster, over 700 times a second, so fast their surface material would need to hold on for dear life just to not fly off into space. That spinning core dumps a constant wind of particles into the wreckage around it, which is why the Crab Nebula's center glows steady even centuries after the star itself died. Every nebula on this list is really the same story. Gas becoming stars, stars becoming gas, over and over, for billions of years, with no end in sight. That gas cloud that built the sun also built the calcium in your bones and the iron in your blood. You're not just watching this list, you're made of it. If dying stars can build the periodic table, imagine what happens when they collapse into black holes. Subscribe, that video's coming up next.